Welcome to Learn to RV, the podcast. I'm Tasha, and today Jennifer and I are talking about my number one least favorite thing to do, spring cleaning and organizing. And I wish I loved it, but by golly, I just really don't. So this year, I really do not have any way around it because we have our new rig coming in. So I actually have two rigs that I have to deep clean and organize. So I'm super excited. Never been happier. So who better to lead our spring cleaning episode than the person who is getting thrown right into that mess? So Jen, how do you feel about spring cleaning and organizing? Do you have any warm feelings in your heart about it?
Actually, I hate spring cleaning, but it's something you kind of have to do as an RVer, I feel like.
Yeah.
You have to do it seasonally. I think if you do it a couple times a year, it's better. Or if you're consistently going through stuff, it's better. But I was
Yeah.
pulling in my slides during move day on Sunday, and I realized that the top of the slides 100% need to be cleaned because they're just disgusting. And yes, I could clean
Yeah.
them from the outside, but when they're coming in and I'm locking the locks on the slides, that's one of the first things I noticed. So it's time for us to. So this comes right at the right time
Well,
of year.
okay, so that leads to my first question. What is the first sign that it is time for a serious spring clean in your RV? Is there a moment where you just know, it's time?
So it's a little different for me because as a vendor in the space, we are getting ready
Mhm.
to start heading out for the season. I need to go organize our storage area that's up top, but alongside my bed, there's a whole stack of bins and stuff from winter show season here in Florida that I now have to go through. So my spring cleaning, I would say, has more layers maybe, but at the same time, it's been colder in Florida. So it's time to go through the clothes, get things off to the thrift
Right.
shop, shed some weight, all that fun stuff.
Even before I knew that we had found the new rig, I knew it was time for spring cleaning because my little tiny, I'm going to use air quotes, closet has some baskets in the bottom that hold things. And one of the things that it holds is a stack of hoodies. And that stack was the first thing to spill out of my quote unquote closet. And then the next thing to spill out was the stack of books. And then the next thing to spilled out. And so now there's a stack of things that have spilled out of my quote unquote closet that are stacked up next to my bed. And every time we move campgrounds, I literally pick it up and put it on the bed. And then whenever we get to the campground, I neatly take it off the bed and put it on the ground. And this has just been a newer development this winter. So it's definitely time for spring cleaning in the Martin household. It's gotten out of control. When we moved into the RV, I was so diligent, Jennifer. I went through all of the closets, all of the cabinets. I mean, we had lived in the house that we were in for 9.5 years, and I was a collector of things. And I thought I had really broken myself of the need to have all of those things. But over the last few months, I've noticed a nesting. This is not an announcement of any kind. Let me just get that out there right now. I think it was a need for a new rig. I was nesting in anticipation of a new rig, but I just started building a little nest of books and hoodies and new t-shirt. It was getting out of control. But when you moved in from your home, you had to be more organized, right? I mean, or were you always just
Yeah.
on top of it in the house? I mean, being a mom of a
I mean,
crew.
I have 7 kids. So, when we first hit the road, everybody had 3 weeks worth of clothes. And we went down to 7 days worth of clothing in that rig because it was so small. We started out in a 30-foot toy hauler with no slides, and 6 out of 7 of the kids came with us. Everybody had a tote that was one of those ones that you slide in and out. Everybody had
Yeah.
one of their own. It was great for the little kids because the little kids could fit way more clothes in theirs than the older kids could. But our oldest at the time was 13 when we hit the road. He had 4 pairs of pants. He had a couple pairs of shorts. He had a couple pairs of pajama bottoms. Now with only 3 kids in the rig and the rig being much bigger, we have probably a week and a half to 2 weeks worth of clothes, which is important now because we do shows. We didn't have an onboard washer back then, but
Right.
we did have a rule. We would mark our stuff with 3 different colored, like, stickers. We had a 30, a 60, and a 90-day sticker. And so
Yeah.
if something got a sticker after 30 days, we would just kinda keep an eye on it. If it was something that hit the 60-day mark, there would be 2 stickers on it, and if it hit the 90-day mark, there would be 3 stickers on it. At the end of that 90 days, we were gonna, like, donate it or give it away or do it at a yard sale in the campground or whatever after the 90 days. If we're sure we were gonna use it again,
Right?
there was a one last ditch effort to a 180-day mark, and so if you still hadn't used it, 3 months later, it would have 3 more stickers. It was just
Yes.
something to keep it easy, and you could pull them right off if you decided to donate them. So, did that always work? No, and there's still things that I have conversations about with my older kids. They're like, "You got rid of blah, blah, blah." Yes, but this is why we did it. Looking back, maybe it wasn't the best way to do it, but it was a functional way for us to keep up with it.
What's the most embarrassing thing that you have found hidden in a storage compartment or a drawer or tucked away somewhere that you were like, oh my gosh, why did I save this? Or why did somebody tuck this away for later? I cannot believe that we still have this holding on.
We're not doing the pets episode tonight, but usually that's where my most embarrassing moments come from.
You had
So
a
we did
pet in a
travel with
storage.
4 ferrets at one point. No, no, but we traveled with 4 ferrets and they were thieves. So every 6 months or so, we pull all of our drawers out and check underneath them. And we would have piles of things underneath those. There would be old dirty socks underneath there because they had made a little nest out of them. But they were socks that we'd thrown away because its friend had long gone missing. I think that that would probably be my worst vice is we do still to this day carry what Frank lovingly calls the sock bag. So, but those lost socks that don't make it to the laundry at the exact same time and then,
Yep.
they're sitting there. So I put those in a bag because I'm sure I'm going to find one of their friends. My sock bag has gotten much smaller over the years, but I think that my most embarrassing moment would be, we still have a dedicated sock bag for the land of missing socks.
So I was thinking about this and I was trying to think of like what are the most ridiculous things that I've found whenever I've been cleaning out. And I think it's not so embarrassing and like a, oh my gosh, why do I have this? As it is in a, this is just, I cannot believe the type of people that we are. So we'll go to like Costco or Sam's Club or enter big box store here and we'll buy the things that we need in bulk and then we'll store away what we have. We do this with toothpaste. We always forget that we have toothpaste stored in a compartment. The toothpaste in the bathroom gets low and starts running out. And then people go and they buy more toothpaste in bulk and realize that there's like 6 tubes of toothpaste already in storage. This is the thing that I shake my head at every time because I just don't understand why we keep falling for the same trick. Like Costco has made so much money on us, and I have a backlog of toothpaste. If the apocalypse hits, we're set for toothpaste for a long time. And I know this. So, I mean, at least our teeth will be clean. But so, okay, so I'm going to
And
say,
so we have the same affinity.
are you serious?
I was gonna say,
No.
no, we have the same affinity, but it's a little different. Mine is soap, but
Oh,
it's not
yeah.
just any soap. It's soap from places like Lush or farmers markets. I actually have an entire container under my sink in the bathroom. And it was funny because we ran out of hand soap this past week and Frank's been on a job, so I haven't made it out. One of the kids went in and they found a hand soap from probably 5 or 6 years ago when the kids were littler, but it has an airplane in the middle of it so that it was meant to, so you wash your hands, you get the toy, right? Well, we never used it for that. So
Your kids are all teenagers now. How long have you
they still
had
like
the
that there's an
airplane
airplane in the middle.
soap?
They're washing their hands more to get to the center of the soap. I'm just going to say that.
Have you had airplane soap?
It's probably been a couple days, yeah. So,
That's
just that being
adorable.
said, I'm not perfect at this for sure. One of the things when we start doing spring cleaning is we do go through and wipe down all the walls, but we like to use natural cleaners.
Yep.
We like to make sure that all the dust is gone, all of the filters are cleaned. That is part of what we're starting this week before we head out of Florida. And it is so easy to get caught in the trap of big box store because you can save some money, or You go to all these farmers markets all across the country, and then you have a lot of really great smelling soap. Or if you're like me, and you have an affinity for Lush, you're going to walk in and make sure you get 5 or 6 bars because you don't know the next time you're going to see that store again.
Well, okay. So let's talk about making a plan for attacking your RV, regardless of how big it is, travel trailer, all the way up to the big driving bus, whatever you're in. For someone who's never done a proper spring cleaning of their RV before, where do you suggest they even start mentally before they even touch a single cabinet?
So there's no real trick for it. Like I said, we start by wiping down all the walls and pulling all of the furniture that can be moved out and cleaning behind things and just making sure that there's a nice clean slate for the season. That also gives you a chance to check the floors and make sure that there's no soft spots. When I start with the cupboards, I tend to start in my bedroom, but then I get overwhelmed by it. So I'll start in the kitchen. So I'll basically pack up everything back up in the bedroom and say, okay, let's go do the kitchen. My
Yeah.
first step then is to go and check all the expiration dates. In the last couple of years, we've mostly switched over to gluten-free stuff. The other thing that I've been doing is I've been pulling out anything that is not gluten-free. And as long as I have a kid with us that travels that's gluten-free, that's just the easier way to do it and to be mindful of all of that. So I'm checking expiration dates and I'm checking, does the package, even if it's not expired, have gluten in it? Can we even use it? Will we use it as a family, or is it something that we could have one of the kids make? We still carry stuff with gluten, like ramen and stuff like that.
Right.
But for the most part, we're real mindful of that.
So one of the things that we do with items like that is I've gotten storage containers to be able to keep them separate and to, you know, we have a cat that thinks that anything plastic bag stored is a chew toy. I don't know why he thinks that it's his treat. So I recently went to like a Marshalls or a Home Goods or something and just attacked the little storage containers that have like the flip tops and the locking lids that like suction cup real good so that the ants can't get in. That way we can kind of keep our gluten-free flours from the gluten flours. And David has specific sugar that he can have because it has to be vegan processed sugar and things like that. Have you found any specific containers that work good for you with storing things for your family or
So I don't have a cat that's crazy about that.
right?
So I just have little zip strip things that I can, put on any bag. So, but we
Mhm.
don't keep a lot of bags at any given time around. We don't have a pantry per se.
Yeah.
So I do have some baskets that are up above my refrigerator that have like snack bars, stuff like ramen, this grab and go stuff, and they're velcroed down. I have baskets in my bathroom that I got in Menards. They're great little baskets and they hold all sorts of things, but they're my towel racks in the bathroom so I can roll my towels up and tip them up sideways. They hold about 4 towels apiece. It's thinking outside of the box, right? In
Yeah.
an RV, there's so many things that you can use that I know we used for years. They're called IKEA Trones. Those are typically shoe racks, but there's 3 stacked in my bathroom. They hold toiletries and they hold medication and stuff. They don't hold shoes. So, and they did used to hold things like toys for the kids when they were little. They
Mhm.
were our toy boxes and we built a shelf over top of them. And then there was a desk area. So I think it's thinking outside the box and making it
Yeah,
work.
definitely.
And what works for one person might be different than somebody else. I know we use containers in our refrigerator to
Mhm.
store our gluten-free stuff away from other stuff, and an egg container, that sort of thing. Organization is kind of the key in that. And, whether you're really organized or you struggle with being organized, I think there's enough tools out there that even somebody that maybe struggles with being organized can find ways that'll work that don't feel overwhelming.
Yeah, I think a really important RV storage tip for beginners is make sure that you're measuring things before you buy the storage bins or the
Yeah.
totes or whatever you're looking to get. One of the things that I learned whenever we got into our rig was that shelves are not the normal size of shelves. Cabinets are not the normal height of cabinets. Sometimes shelves are adjustable, that can be helpful. But there are some wonky sizes in shelves, like bathroom shelves are super special. And so before you start going in and buying the little cups to help you organize your cabinets or the trays that you see at Target that look like they're made perfectly to help you organize that drawer, you really need to measure those things and know what you're working with before you go looking. Something you had said earlier, think outside of the box, is so important. I saw something whenever I was preparing for this episode. This lady had separated her drawers with pieces of cardboard and duct taped them together and made drawer dividers because she couldn't find drawer dividers that were long enough or stretched to the length of the drawers in her bedroom. And so she was like, I just had to make something so that I had something to organize my space. And it's not pretty, but it does the job. And so I think that's the one thing, we talk about pivoting all the time. And that also comes down to cleaning and organizing your space. Sometimes you're going to use things that don't make any sense. Those tension rods that you would hang like little curtains up or whatever, those suckers are lifesavers whenever we're traveling. The tension rods keep things from shifting in our pantry, but I've seen people use them for separators in refrigerators. So just kind of thinking outside of the box, but always, always, always measure. And it'll save you so much time going back and forth from the store and returning things.
That was especially true when we put in the back storage for the kids when we got into this new toy hauler. We got
Yes.
what would normally be an upright thing with the baskets that come out of it. We turned it long ways and it fits perfectly under the bed with like an inch to spare on each side. But each one of those storage containers slides in and out easily. That's how the kids store a lot of their stuff. Their shoes are in one and they've got toys in another, art supplies, whatever. And they've got dividers in there. You don't have to have 5 million containers, but finding the
Yes.
right ones that work for you. And it's okay if you buy something and it doesn't work and you give it away because that's just the reality is learning is kind of half the curve there. And sometimes it's just for a season where something works
Hmm.
well for a season, but then you have to change it out. As the kids
Yeah.
grow or as you evolve, it's my husband's fault, but I have a bucket of rocks next to my bed. Frank bought me a rock tumbler for Mother's Day one year. My little bucket of rocks is from all over the country. I move that sucker all the time, and I'm not allowed to fill it any higher than the box bucket. And it's not a big bucket,
Right.
it's a small bucket, but it's a bucket. The reality, though, is, we have to be mindful of all of those things. So, like hobbies have changed the whole time we've been on the road. So that means my craft bin has to be cleaned out on a regular basis. And blessing somebody else with something that you're done crafting with, it's just a feel good too to purge some of that stuff and know that somebody else will appreciate it.
Yep. So I want to move from inside to outside. We are going to come back inside, I promise, but moving outside. And I want to take this moment to mention that our sponsor, again, is RV Roofing Solutions, whom we love. And I wanted to talk for a minute about some outside cleaning tips. Specifically, in our previous episode, we talked about exterior care that you should be giving to your RV as you're kind of de-winterizing or moving into spring. And one of the things that I thought of that we didn't really talk too much about was it's a perfect time to actually clean your roof. And a lot of people don't think about that, but I know that for myself, because I do have an RV Roofing Solutions roof, part of that care practice is that I don't have to caulk it anymore, but I do have to clean it twice a year. And spring is a great time to do that because it's been through all of the changing seasons. It's had leaves on it. It's had all sorts of stuff. So I was wondering if you could talk about your top tips on caring for the roof in terms of cleaning it, what type of brushes to use, and what cleaners or what types of chemicals to stay away from.
So that's a great question. And it's funny that you're asking that because we're in the process of possibly changing the product that we use for our install teams. But there's some great industry trusted products that are out there. There's a lot of people that swear by dish soap, Simple Green, or Awesome Cleaner as the top three things to clean your roof with. And I would tell you, actually, a friend of mine said, Dawn is great for baby ducks, but it's not so great for your sealants because it dries them out. You don't think about what it
Mhm.
does. It cleans the oil off of a duckling, But the reality is it does dry out your sealant, but it's also what it does to any polymers or wax along the sides of your coach as it runs down the sides. And all of those are harsh degreasers. And
Yes.
there's lots of other ones out there. Somebody said Murphy's oil soap a while back. Again,
Ooh,
that's a use at your own risk. I always tell people use something that's industry trusted. There are things like Wash Wax All, which is used on Air Force One. They do have a roof cleaner that's a fantastic cleaner, and their regular stuff to wash your rig is waterless, so you don't have to do anything. But Liquefied just came out with a brand new product, which is super awesome. It's just such a great product. We've tested it. It's also a great waterless cleaner that you don't need a lot of water for. Now, that being said, what you're using matters. So a soft brush on your roof should do the trick. You shouldn't need a whole lot more than that. Be real careful if you're deciding to power wash your roof, especially if you
mm,
have a membraned roof. If you have a company that comes and cleans it, be real careful with that too, because we know enough people that have said, I didn't have a problem on my roof till it got washed and they ripped it. So they have to know how much PSI to use, especially if you are using water in that situation. As far as cleaning the coach itself, when people ask us when we do seminars, how long does it take you to wash a roof? So when we clean a roof, we're trying to get a good bond for our product. Our process takes 6 to 8 hours, no less than 5, literally. But most people will tell me they can wash their roof in under an hour. Good on you if you can do that. I say that it's probably at least a 2-hour job if you're doing it right. You don't have to dry it, but if you dry it as you go, it is less slippery. And so keep
mhm.
that in mind when you're doing it. But you do want an industry trusted cleaner. And there's lots of great ones. McGuire's makes a good wash wax product. You don't want to use wax on your roof unless you want to go flying. Um,
Yeah, that's so
you know,
dangerous.
and it can be. And then a UV protection of some kind on your roof. If you have like a fiberglass roof, you should be
Mhm.
coating that every 6 months with something like 303. That just keeps the UV so that the polymers don't break down and doesn't chalk off. The chalking is like where there's a white residue. Every time it rains, it's running down your coach. That's just
Yeah.
sign of degradation. Any of the industry trusted cleaners are going to clean the sides from that. But every time it rains, if your roof is not protected, it will keep running off.
Now, I just want to reiterate. I know that Jen already said it, but if you are washing your rig, your roof, your rig with Dawn dish soap, please stop. Don't do that. It's not good for things. It's
Well,
good
it's
for
any dish
getting,
soap. It's not just
yes,
Dawn.
it's good for getting oil off of duckies. It's not good for keeping your seals, good for keeping the coating on your rig, for protecting your roofing on top. Another thing that I thought I'd mention right now is wash from the top down. So it is very good to start where we've started at the top at your roof. Now we're going to move down to the bottom. And please, like we mentioned in last week's episode, please use a good ladder to get up and down, and be very, very careful while you're doing that.
If you're using a type of telescoping ladder, please be 100% careful because,
Yes.
they can fail. Any ladder can fail. Ladder safety is very important. If you have things like vertigo, find somebody to help you. And there's
Yes.
enough nice people in most campgrounds, or pay a wash wax company to come wash your rig for you.
Yes.
There's a lot of affordable ones out there. There's some that are better quality, and some reputations are important to have that company versus whoever's cheap.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've moved down. We've talked about some of the products that you can use on the outside of your rig. Now is a really good time to also check in your crawl spaces. Check, in all of those storage bins. Is there anything that you're not using? Is there anything you can get rid of? Can you relieve some of the weight from your rig that you don't need? Are there tools that maybe you don't need, or are there tools that maybe you do need? I think this is a good time to evaluate all of that. I know that we're talking about cleaning and organizing, and that comes with clearing stuff out. But I think this is also a really good time to evaluate, do I have the things that I need? If we break down on the side of the road, can we take care of ourselves? So that's something that I would
For
recommend
sure.
doing while you're out there too. I would go through all of your hoses, everything that you use for your tanks. Just make sure that everything's in good condition. Does anything need replaced? spring is a great time to do that.
If you're carrying camping chairs with you, make sure they're
Yes.
still in good condition after the season too. Open them up, air them out, take a look at them. It's okay to replace them. And there's companies out there that have warranties on their chairs. So if you're shopping around, you don't have to get the Walmart chairs every year. My chairs are Kuma chairs and they've literally held up for 3 years now. I think
Yeah.
that, quality does matter in some of those situations too.
Yeah, it definitely does. So now, Jennifer, we're going to come back inside. And I just want to say, do not think that this is like a one and done. I've done it all in one day. I have to start in the morning and be done at the end of the day. Break it up into chunks. Do this in a way that makes it feasible for you. Make it fun. Reward yourself. Like, hey, we're going on a hike because I organized my shoes and gave away 25% of them. Find something to do to say, look at what we did. Let's celebrate it. But we are now, for this section of our episode, going to go room by room for organization. Are you ready, Jennifer? She's looking at me
Maybe.
like, no,
So
I don't think so.
one of the things we did, we used to do a point system when the kids were little, and they would
Ooh,
get a point for everything they did on a list. And we still do that to a certain degree. Like each kid has to go through things. The thing is, my kids will get rid of more stuff than I want to get rid of because they're like,
mhm.
school books, we don't need those. But I mean, you
Uh,
have to be mindful about some of it at the same time.
yeah, I could see them being like, I don't think that I need this broom anymore, but this race car definitely need 4 more of those, mom.
For
Well,
us, it's
let's
the Legos. The purging of Legos does not happen well
Yeah,
or ever.
no, no. So let's start in the kitchen, okay? And we've kind of already started in the kitchen, so I think it's a good place to begin. We've mentioned tension rods. I have seen people use tension rods in different ways, like putting them up over their stove to hold measuring cups that have holes in them, things like that. We have a magnetic strip for our knives, and we also have magnetic measuring spoons, and they stack and we stick them on the magnetic strip and they hold when we travel, which is really great.
If you like magnetic strips, another fun thing is going to IKEA to go find the things that might fit in your RV. We have shelves that we turned upside down.
Huh?
So this goes back to, you can make it work differently.
Hmm.
And then Frank this year built us a spice rack for all of our
Yes.
spices so they don't sit in the cupboard. And yes, it has to come off the wall on travel day, but it's made life a lot easier. And for the most part, they can just sit there all the time. One of the things we've started doing this year is going through and removing all of our silicone bakeware, which was, I thought, a lifesaver. And it's great. It's fairly lightweight. It's easy to use. But this year, we're going back to all heavier stainless steel. With the allergy side of things, it makes things better for our family.
Yeah. So is there any one thing that has like genuinely changed how your kitchen functions from a storage or cleaning out way? For us, I think that we have a set of pots and pans that actually stack and they store in one another. So when you have them all stacked appropriately, my kids do not always do this correctly when they put it up, but when you stack them appropriately, it literally is the size of the largest pot and then the frying pan upside down on top of it. And everything else, all of the lids, all of the saucepans, all fit inside, and the handles all come off so that those can store separately. It literally takes up half the drawer underneath our stove. It's half the width of that. And that is all of our pots and pans. That changed the game for us because we don't have that much storage in our kitchen. Is there anything like that that just kind of revolutionized your space in your kitchen? You guys got those cabinets at Menards, and I was so jealous whenever you guys put them in because they were
So we went
beautiful.
from having twice as many cabinets to half the cabinets when we moved into this rig. I guess Newmar in 2008 decided that we didn't need cabinets. So we literally had 1, 2 under the sink on the living room side. Like, so literally there was nothing. And then the refrigerator had we changed out the fridge to a residential fridge, but there
Hmm.
was just one pull out container for food. Being a family on the road, many of the RVs out there today are built for 2 people. And this This one
Yeah.
definitely was. If it was just Frank and I, it probably would have been fine, but we needed a place to put dry goods storage, a desk for Frank. We did change out quite a few things at that point, but storage capacity is still at a premium. Doesn't matter how you do it, you just can't carry everything with you. Snacks for the kids, stuff like that. So having organized cabinets, so we have our dry goods in one and snacks in another. And like I said, I have snacks on top of the refrigerator for the kids that have like fruits and vegetables in one. You just keep moving them around and cleaning them out and going on and whatnot. You just try not to overbuy
Mhm.
because if I go to Costco and I buy snack bars, if it's not during a rally week, we're probably not finishing that box because everybody's
Right.
like, I want something different.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we're no
absolutely.
different than we were in a house on that one.
Well, I've seen some really cute ideas online for RV kitchen storage in terms of, not having a lot of built-in storage. Some of those have been like attaching some wire baskets from the ceiling where there is some space. So maybe inside the slide, some really light wire baskets that you can put produce in, or hanging the mesh bags for RV kitchen organization. And I really want to try and utilize some of those for our produce and things like that whenever we move into the new rig, because we didn't do that in this one, and I think that that could have helped a lot.
We actually have something like that hanging inside of our cabinets. We have a towel rack that hangs right over the door, so you can hang the towel there. On the inside of the other cabinet, there's a small basket container that we put our trash bag into, and you can just roll them right out of there. Little things like that are super useful. You can find them online. We often will find stuff like that kind of happenstance at like TJ Maxx and stuff because
Yeah.
that is like, the graveyard of all the things that nobody thought they needed, but we found. So
Right. One of the things that I do whenever I'm trying to find ideas for like small space is go online to see what they're using in apartments in like Europe and in Asia, because their space is so small and they've already thought through these problems that we're not used to
yeah.
having in America, because our houses are bigger. Even our apartments are larger. They've already downsized those areas. And so utilizing some of their tricks in an RV has been really smart for us. I really like looking at Temu. That site cracks me up. Some of the stuff that they have on there, I'm like, what are we even selling here? But some of it is legitimately life changing tools for storage and like, I don't know, there's just some really cool stuff on there that I never would have thought to get. I don't totally discredit it. It works. Let's talk about
But Tasha,
RV.
I've got to ask
Yes,
you a
ma'am.
question. So, does spring cleaning mean you go through your t-shirts?
Don't talk about my t-shirts, Jennifer. Listen, they're occasionally listen, there's we haven't gotten to the bedroom yet. Let's talk about RV bathroom storage hacks, okay? Let's go to the bathroom first. We'll get to the bedroom in a minute, and I will discuss my t-shirt collection. RV bathroom storage hacks. Okay, wet bath, small bathrooms, they're a real challenge. What storage solutions have you found for your RV bathroom? Anything? Does anything work? That's
Yeah,
the question I have. I'm
I do.
asking
I
from a
have these
real
really neat
place.
baskets. Yep, I have these really neat baskets that I got from Menards, and I love them. We use them everywhere in the bathroom. They're our storage for just about everything, and everybody has their own basket, which is nice. I have some that are deeper and then some that hold the towels, like I said. And then I have the IKEA Trones that hold like washcloths and stuff, like
Right.
the smaller stuff that would fall. We're very fortunate that we've got a nice sized bathroom in this rig. I had
Mhm.
what I called a divided bathroom in the last rig where it was just the toilet. That's it. There was just a cupboard above the toilet and there was enough for 4 rolls of toilet paper. It wasn't like it was a big cupboard. RV storage is hard in the bathroom, right? So one of the
It
things that I've seen
is.
is those hotel towels. You can do those rolled
Mhm.
towels on those hotel racks. I don't tend to do that because you tend to have to hang them right above the toilet. And, I do keep
Uh-huh.
towels in the bathroom, but they're like right at the doorway. We've also got
Mhm.
some fun little hooks that we got one year for our towels while they're drying. And they are little climbers. They're just fun and dorky. And I think we got them in Colorado somewhere. I think that's the other side of it, right? Is like the stuff you start
Yeah.
storing stuff in is kind of that kitschy stuff you find along the journey. That's what personalizes it for you.
So we in our bathroom, one of my tips is keep your eyes peeled for closeout sales. I know that that's very sad to say because it means that someone's business is closing. But when Bed Bath& and Beyond was going out of business, we were actually in the process of getting our rig, and so I measured everything, we went in, and I found baskets, or, like, they're kinda baskets. Some of them are wooden, some of them are clear plastic, but they fit inside our bathroom medicine cabinet. In our medicine cabinet, the shelves are kinda tall, but the lip on the shelves is very shallow. If you
Mhm.
store anything there and then you're driving down the road, when you open that door, everything is just going to come falling out. Like there's no way around it. Everything is coming out the first time you open the door after you've gone anywhere. You drive from one campground to another, it could be 2 blocks, everything's falling out. So we put those little makeshift baskets in there and they line all of our shelves. And so it keeps stuff from falling out on us whenever we open that door, which has been very, very helpful. That's my number one tip for bathroom storage. It keeps me from screaming at people whenever I open the bathroom mirror. I'm a big fan. Anything that'll keep things from that's why I love my tension rods in the pantry in the kitchen because it keeps things from falling at me when I open the pantry door. Yeah, the bathroom is such a small space, but it's so problematic for just finding ways to make things work. So that's another one where I'm just like, you just gotta try it, try all of the kind of tricky things. We are going to move into the bedroom and the closet now for RV closet organization. We will talk about my t-shirts now. So when I hit spring cleaning, my Halloween t-shirts and my Christmas shirts are off, like they are off topic. Like they do not get touched, they do not come out. They are in their zippered, vacuum locked bags underneath the bed and they're stored away and that's where they are. But I do go through my regular day-to-day shirts and go, do I still wear this? Do I still like this? What do I do with this? And then pass on whatever I don't want. Sometimes my shirts go to Rosewood. They just do. But also sometimes Rosewood shirts come to me. So sometimes our clothes don't actually leave the RV. And then also I have a large collection of t-shirts that I've gathered through the years that are in our storage unit that I have been looking for somebody to make a quilt out of. They're from concerts and high school plays. And so if you have any, inclination of making a quilt for Tasha, please email us at connect@learntorv.com. I have I have t-shirts that sometimes I don't wanna get rid of them because they're from the Grand Canyon and I don't wanna wear it anymore, but I would like to one day have a blanket marking that occasion. So those things go into a bucket that will then get moved to the storage unit the next time that we go there. That's kind of my mess there. We have done so many things in the closet, Matt and I have, and we've gone from what are you laughing at me for? What did I say or do? How many things we've done in the
we
closet?
have done we have done so many things in the closet.
Listen, all of our G and PG
So
rated
Tasha, what
listeners
have
at
you done in the
home,
closet?
they all know that I'm talking about storage closet organization. They know that what I'm talking about are baskets, talking about how I've tried to make everything fit into these teeny tiny little closets.
I
Yeah.
actually have in my closet some of the original
You are
boxes
so ornery.
that we started out on the road with that have my shoes in them now, but they used to be the kids' clothes boxes. I think it's funny that
Okay.
13 years later I can still use the same
Find it used.
boxes and they're just like the perfect size.
Yeah.
And they were never meant to be closed boxes, but, they were for, like, toddlers, so but now they hold, like, 5 pairs of shoes. They're right in my closet, they fit perfectly underneath the little shelf in there. It's nice to have that extra space and that it's contained so that I don't
Right.
have to worry about if they're just laying around. We carry weird stuff because we own a business. We don't have just an iron, we have a steamer, which is why this
Mhm.
doesn't have wrinkles tonight, because when we put up a booth, we have to steam the booth.
All of my stuff has wrinkles. All of it.
Well, all you need to do is let your friend know because she has a steamer because her husband bought one.
Be like,
I'm married to a
"Jen, I'm
Marine,
coming to steam my
but
clothes."
Jen doesn't use the steamer as much as Frank does.
Okay, that's hilarious.
I was gonna say the other thing is, just being realistic about going through your stuff on a regular basis. Yes, there's gonna be some things that you're tied to emotionally. Knowing that's okay to say, okay, this is something I want to save for a rainy day, but also know when to bless and release, so to speak.
Yeah.
When we hit the road full time, I didn't realize how freeing that could be, not having that extra baggage and clutter, being that we have shows that we attend and events that we do. My collection, and it's not even like because I love it so much, it's because we do all these rallies and shows, is I have t-shirts from all the shows and rallies. I
Mm,
can't just go get rid of them because the next time we go to an FRVA rally or go to Escapade or go to Bash, I want to have the year that I was there or my volunteer shirt. I may never wear it any other place, but I need to have those when I go to those events. I do have a collection like that. It's just not Christmas or Halloween related. So,
yeah. Yep. Yep.
but dress pants versus not dress pants. I mean, I have more
Mhm.
clothes probably than most people because of the shows.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the storage hacks that I did wanna call out that I had found early on, and it sometimes worked, sometimes not, the over-the-door shoe holder that you see used in closets and things like that. There's a bathroom door that opens into our bedroom, and so the sliding door that goes into our bedroom, we put one of those on the back of that, and then we actually found one that is long instead of tall, and we wrapped that around our bed, and we've got the hooks going underneath the mattress because we don't have a nightstand, we don't have a place to put things that's easily accessible that way. So that has made it easy to be able to store things. Living room, I know that it's kind of an extension of the kitchen, but one of the things that has changed our world, and you have the same one, so I assume that it's made a difference for you too, is we got a couch from IKEA that has storage in the base, and that has given us so many options. We use one half to store first aid stuff, bags, things that we don't need all the time, and then we use the other half for our mixing bowls and things like that because like I mentioned, we don't have a lot of space in the kitchen for dishes. So that has given us storage that we always knew we always wanted.
We actually have games in one side of our IKEA couch, and that same IKEA couch underneath there, if you're ever sitting there and watching a movie in my house, you might feel a vibration. It's not your imagination, it's actually the subwoofer. Frank has a subwoofer inside one of those couch pieces. The other
That makes
side, we
sense.
actually keep extra blankets for when we're on the couch, but you have to keep in mind that if you're using under couch storage, you're putting weight somewhere that maybe wasn't intended to be there. Make sure that
Yes.
the slides are still functioning well and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
can't overdo it, I guess is what I'm saying. Storage is great, but you have to be careful with it.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So let's talk about some deep cleaning tips. One of the things that I wanted to talk about is your fresh water tank, which a lot of people don't think about needing to sanitize and needing to clean out. We did talk last week about, sanitizing it after you've dewinterized or after if you've had your RV in storage for winter. But a lot of RVers don't know that this is something that you can do even if you don't store your RV for the winter. This is something that you can do to treat that tank, to keep it fresh, to keep it clean. You know, I I think about a nice babbling brook and all the nice moss that gathers on rocks. And then I imagine that happening in my freshwater tank. And so, that keeps me sanitizing my freshwater tank. And there are a lot of good products out there. Liquefied, they've got a good freshwater tank product out there. There's a lot of companies that do. So you just got to find the one that works great for you. And they're pretty reasonably priced and it's a pretty easy process to do. I've heard of people sanitizing it just using vinegar or just to kind of rinse it out and let that slosh around in there when you're traveling and give it a good rinse. I like
Water,
to think,
water, water, water. I mean, like, water is
yes,
so important when you're cleaning it
yes,
out. That's the thing is so many people try to use so much stuff, and the reality is
mhm,
just with a good regular cycle on your fresh water, your black water, whatever that looks like for you, making sure you're sanitizing all your tanks on a regular basis, just make it part of your maintenance.
yeah,
I don't necessarily promise that as spring cleaning, but if you're gonna do it once a year or twice a year, spring cleaning is definitely a time to dig into that, especially if you're sitting for the season and you've got your fresh water has been filled with some type of, product to like keep your pipes from getting frozen. You want to make sure they're fully rinsed out before you ever start drinking out of them.
yeah, absolutely. Same on the inside as on the outside, top to bottom is very important. As it would be in a house, you're getting all of that dust pulling it down. So that's really good. Anything else that you want to mention on deep cleaning? I mean, you had mentioned cleaning the walls. One of the things that I've noticed that we've got to do is recently our air conditioner has started spitting out some dark dust. And so I've really got to get in and like clean the vents in our bedroom, that one air conditioner, and clean the ceiling really well up there.
Question.
So
When
that's
was the
something.
last time you had your AC serviced? When did you clean your coils last?
I do not know,
Yeah,
Jennifer. I
so
do not
yeah,
know. It's a
so
good
cleaning your coils
question.
on your AC will make it work better, and so that's also very important. There will be dust and debris buildup inside there. They do
Mm-hmm.
make, products where you can spray it in there, and the fins, you have to clean each one kind of individually, but your
Uh-huh.
AC will work tons better if that's clean inside there.
All right. So there's a tip that everyone needs to know, including Tasha. Look at that. Just learning things as I go. All right. Year round tips. We've talked about this. Get a spring checklist. Clean things as you go, clean things out as you go. Try Jen's 30, 60, 90 day tip. If you think that maybe
It's harder
you're
than you think.
I can't even begin to imagine. I don't know that I could do the
So
30, 60, 90. I would lose track of everything.
So the downside of the 30, 60, 90 thing is the fact that sometimes you're gonna get rid of something that 100 days later you needed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh,
We've rebought more than our fair share of those items. There
yeah.
are some things that you find out that you didn't use, but you now use, but you only need them like when you're baking for Christmas. I
Right.
don't want to rebuy them every year. You have to make choices on what you keep. So we keep a very minimal amount of like cookie cutters and stuff like that that we only
Yeah.
use once a year. And we
Yeah.
did keep the original ones because they were for my grandmother. And we do occasionally pick up a fun new one somewhere on the road.
I like it. Okay. I have a question for you. And I'm also asking this of all of our listeners, all of you guys out there, into our Facebook community, get in there, links in the show notes. Tell us your answer too. We want to know. But Desert Island Organization product, if you could only keep one organization product or hack that is in your RV currently. So, not something that you wish you had, but something you currently use. What would it be and why? And I will go first so that you have a minute to think about it. And I think mine would be much harder to answer than I anticipated. I have these little bins, these little plastic bins in our pantry that when I bring things like single serve things home from the grocery store, no, 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 no. That's not what I'm going to use. I know what I'm keeping. I'm keeping the bags that I decant our board games into. I cannot remember. There is a different RVing family out there that gave me this tip. I got it from their YouTube page and I will have to find them and give them credit in the show notes. But they said, "Hey, do you want to be able to bring your board games with you, but you don't want the weight of all of the cardboard and, you don't want to have to get rid of your games, but also why are the board game boxes so oversized? There's no reason for that. And I was like, yes, you're speaking to my soul. Um, and they said, buy these Ziploc type bags that are waterproof and you can decant your board games into these bags, store them. It'll keep everything safe and you lose the weight of all of the packaging materials around your board games, but you can still bring your board games with you and it takes less space. And I love those bags. I love them for more than just my board games, but I love them most of all for my board games. I love that the zipper is really clean and easy. It's got these little tabby guys at the top, little rope things, so it makes it easy to pull. I've never had one of them get snagged or anything. I need to find wood to knock on because now that I've said that, they will. They're waterproof, so if anything spills on them, I don't have to worry. They have different sizes, but the ones that I get come in multiple sizes. I can package smaller pieces in smaller bags inside of the larger oversized bags. So it just allows me to keep things organized the way that I like. So that is the one thing that I would keep because it really makes my heart happy. Have you thought of what you would keep?
I would probably keep all of the little containers in my bathroom. They're little wire baskets that hold the towels. That makes a big difference in terms of ease because my closet for my laundry room is in my bedroom. The kids have to come in and out of my bedroom to come get a towel. So it just gives them the power to grab stuff right there, or the IKEA Trones because I've used them for everything over the years. We got them with the first rig and we've used them for literally just about everything from kids' toys to shoes. And they're great because you can just put some cleaner on them, wash them up, and use them for something different when the time comes. And they're very sturdy and they hold up really well. Quality of product is very important. Earlier this fall, Robin actually wrote us a great article on Learn to RV, and we'll need to link that to the show notes on different
Yes.
ways you can organize your home in an RV, not necessarily spring cleaning, but just the organizing side of it. And then just recently, Jennifer Skinnell did one as well. There's so many different ideas out there. Pinterest is a great tool to find some of those. My personal page, if you look for Jennifer Scalacci on Pinterest, you'll find there's a whole RV hack thing there. All of those things exist, and finding what works for you doesn't necessarily mean it works for everybody. Find what works for you and share that information. That's the heart of the Learn to RV community as a whole, is learning from each other is almost as good as doing it ourselves. It's just doing it
Yeah.
together, and which makes it better anyways.
Yep. So if you have got a go-to spring cleaning tip or, the wildest thing that you found when you were cleaning in your rig and you want to share it with us, you can share that at our in our Facebook community. And we are collecting stories to share around the campfire in one of our future episodes. So if you have got a great story that you want us to share on the air, you can email that to connect@learntorv.com. That's connect@learntorv.com. Let us know if we can share your name and we'll pick a handful of them and share them during one of our future episodes. So, from all of us here at Learn to RV, we would like to thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to join our campfire crew on Patreon for bonus content and just get updates about the show. Subscribe, share Learn to RV the podcast.com with your friends and leave a review. And we will see you around the campfire next time.
See you soon.